Hi guys, Dave Pinson here, Philippine Bible Ministries. I'm sulking today. I like that word, sulking. I'm whining. I'm upset with the Lord. I'm honest in my feelings to Him. I know some people say, "Well, how could you ever be upset with? How could you ever be mad at God? Don't you know that? Who? Yeah, I know all that. I know it's not right. I'm not right all the time. You know, it always reminds me of two things. It reminds me of Peter at the time when things start getting rough, right? Jesus starts telling them some of the hard things that purposely that they didn't understand. For a long time, I struggled with the scripture and with Jesus, because here's the thing. Someone would ask him a solid question and he wouldn't answer it. He'd just go off on a left field and tell a story or do something else. And it's like, that's not what I asked you, Lord. You know, and then it finally started coming. It finally started coming to me a couple of places. One of them, it says you're not ready for the truth. The other one says I speak in parables. Why do you speak in parables? Because having ears they will hear, eyes they will see, a heart but they will not understand. So part of the reason he does all this is because he's trying to test people's hearts, because he knows what's in the heart. So he tells them, eat my body. He's not telling them to become cannibals. They don't understand that. Peter didn't understand it. I don't think we understand it all the way today. Unlike my substantiation and transubstantiation friends, I don't think that's the case. I don't think that he was actually telling. I think he was just thinning the crowds. He's trying to find out. So he says to him, "Will you leave me too, Peter?" Because everybody left. But what do you mean? We're not cannibals. We know this guy. He's a carpenter's son. What is he talking about? It's all good and well when he's feeding 5,000 people and he's giving us free food. It's all good and well when he's healing everybody. It's all good and well, when he's telling us really cool things and we'll go, "Oh, that's beautiful. I wonder what that means." It's beautiful though. Listen, no one ever talked like this before. You know, but when you start talking about eating your body, and then when he starts telling him that he needs to go die, it's like, are you going to leave me too, Peter? And Peter says, where else can I go, Lord? Right? And that's the feeling. I've been in this boat before. It's amazing how we keep going through the same thing. I mean, me, not you. You guys are probably much more advanced than me. You don't have to go through trials. You just turn to God and you're good. You're right there in the boat where you belong. Me, I'm always trying to jump out. But it's amazing how you go through the same trials again and again, and you always have this pitiful reaction at first. This pitiful reaction. I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to entitle this. I thought about the title again. Help! Because here's what's happening. Here's the crux of what's going on. We have a builder down here. We sold our home in California, and we took a chunk to live off of. We're just gonna live off this. We're gonna enjoy ourselves. Not a lot, but just a little bit. We got to be like one day millionaires for about a year. We got to buy stuff on Amazon. We went on vacations. We weren't we didn't go cruises. We weren't like millionaires, but we were able to do a couple things that I'd never done before because I never really had money. Never really had money. Grew up without a lot of money. I mean, I wasn't starving, but anyway, so we experienced that for a minute, but then we took a big chunk of the money from the house, and half of it went into this house right here, and the other half we gave to the Lord for this ministry building down here. Well, the builder built this house, and then he did a good job. I mean, it was a few months late, but that's Philippine style. And then down there, we started a project to build this. We're going to call it the House of Prayer. This is a ministry building. It's not a church. If you don't know me yet, just keep watching. I'll explain that later. Read my book, Why the Philippines, on Amazon.com, David Pinson. Please like and subscribe to my channel. So, sorry. So, we trusted the guy because he built this place. And so we started the building. We get into phase one. We get into, phase one was the wall. We needed to build a wall around it. Phase two was the walls of the building and clear everything out and build the walls, right? And then he says, well, it was during the COVID, right after the COVID, the tail end of the COVID time. And he goes, the everything's going up. The materials are going up. I can't keep the price of the contract because I have to buy all the materials now. So could you give me all the money? Well, he had already earned my trust. So I gave him all the money. Gave him all the money. It's a lot of money, right? And he didn't show me. I didn't ask for receipts or anything. I trusted him. I trust this guy. He did the right. And then he started like slowly but surely not coming, not coming. He quit coming. Eventually, he was only coming once in a while. He's only been there maybe 20 times, maybe 30 times, probably something like 25 times in the last 2 years. He's basically abandoned the project and took the money. And we kept asking him. He kept giving me really good. He had things happen, and this and that and the other. But he never came back. Somebody stole. We had wiring going from here. We have a generator. We have power from here all the way down there. Someone stole all the wiring. Um, Kept trusting him. But at the end of the day, he spent all that money. $36,000. Now I know that's not a lot of money to you. It doesn't seem like a lot of money, but that's enough to finish the project. That's about what he owes us right now. About 2 million pesos. About $36,000. That's what he owes us, and it's not happening. And he finally admitted a month ago. Well, I'm going to have to abandon the project. I just don't, whatever. So the guy's been constantly lying, and we get upset. And the Lord kept telling me, "Don't worry about it, David. It's not your building. Whose money is that? It's your money, Lord. Okay, then let me work." Now, I don't think He's telling me not to go after it because we're going to have to file arbitration, and that's a whole other issue. So I'm very upset. I'm very upset with this man down here, and I got a little upset with the Lord. I was pouting a little bit, like, really, Lord, this guy keeps telling me, I keep trusting him, and you couldn't just put it on his heart, like throw him up against a wall and tell him to build this place, finish it, just do it. You can't take care of me, Lord. How am I going to show anybody here in Kamaya that you're a powerful God when this happens? It looks really weak. It looks like weak sauce to me. There's other things. There's another couple other things that I'm praying about right now. Is God doesn't work for me, apparently. So I go through the sulking, and I'm very upset with this guy, and that's a whole other issue. So I let that go though. I give it to God, and I want the joy of the Lord. I want there to be I want there to be God's not mocked. If the guy stole money from me, I want him to pay for it, pay us back somehow. We're going to go to arbitration. We'll see how it goes. But I also have to let it go, to just let it go. And, well, maybe we'll have to find another way. Maybe we're going to have to dig deep and pay for it ourselves. Maybe we're just going to have to eat $36,000. But then I say, that's your money, God. You're going to have to eat it. And I feel like what I'm always telling people. So here's the problem: when you have a strong conviction, and you tell people about them, and then God will test you. Because I'm always telling people, God's not broke. Why? God doesn't need your money, man. God's not broke. And the church say you have to tithe, and you don't have to tithe. It's not part of the New Testament. That's a whole other issue. We talked about that before, and I can spell that out for anybody who questions me on that. That's fine. It's not in the New Testament. But you have to give as much as you can. I give much more than a tithe at this point in my life. I give a lot more than a tithe. Almost 50% of my retirement money goes into the ministry. I'm not bragging. I'm just telling you this is the way it is. But for years, anyway, that's a whole other issue. So I had to let that go. I had to let my anger go. I had to ask the Lord, love those who hurt you or persecute you. Love your enemies. You know, give them blessings and kindness. So I'm like, all right, Lord, change my heart, and make it right. And we're still going to protect it. Mom and Pop and everybody, they went into Ingolf. They're going to put up a big sign that says no trespassing, because now people are going into the property and they're stealing sand, which is not good to steal sand from your land. Because I don't know, it's gonna. They think the wall's going to fall down. I know it's not. The builder he built those footings so deep. There's no way anybody could dig that deep. But I don't argue with that part. But we're going to put up a sign. We're going to put some cameras down there to protect us. Blah blah blah. So I have to let it go. And like I said, this happened to me before. I lost everything. I was working at a Christian school, barely survived, didn't really have much money to survive on. My wife at the time left me. She took my daughter with her. The school closed down because it was right during a downturn in the economy, the recession, and it was a new school, and so they closed down. So I lost all that ministry, and I lost everything. I was angry with God. God, what are you doing? I'm just trying to do your will. I teach Bible to kids and youth, and I'm just trying to, kind of like I do now. I teach Bible, and I'm just trying to do your will, and you take away my family, and you take away my wife, and why are you destroying me? And I felt like the Lord said to me, like he said to Peter, are you going to leave me too, David? And I just said, no, Lord. And he picked me up and held me, and he never let go. So even now, it's like I told my wife this morning, even if we lose that, even if that happens, the thing we want to show these people, what do I want? If I was God, if I was God, I would send a lightning bolt up that guy's bottom, and that guy would show up tomorrow with all the money, or he would just his crew would show up and say, "We're gonna finish it. I'm sorry, I don't care what it costs me. I'm selling my house. I'm gonna finish your project because I'm an honest person, and God told me if I don't do this, He's gonna kill me." Or that's what I want to happen. And everybody goes, "Oh, look what happened." I say, "Yeah, it's a miracle. Look at God, signs and wonders." But if that doesn't happen, what can I do? So here's the thing: you have to always tell yourself, what can I do? God is this. I'm getting ready to do a video about how God can do all things, but through us, right? So what can I do is I can show love and kindness instead of anger. I'm trying to tell my wife this, but the Filipino way is let's go get a machete and teach this man what's up. You know, that's the Filipino way. I know a lot of people that aren't from the Philippines think that they're so kind and everything. They're not. They are in a way, but they're also anger is a big part of the thing. And anyway, that's another issue. So how can we honor God in this and not sulk? Just by loving everyone, by showing that guy love somehow. And I'm trying to think of a way I can show him kindness right now, because the scripture says show kindness to your enemy, and it's like pouring hot coals on their head. Now I had a pastor, and I heard a couple pastors say this one time, because they don't there's a lot of people in the Western church, I say Western church, also in the Philippines. They believe that God is just like this fluffy grandpa, and everything's kindness and good and light. And oh, God would never cause suffering in your life. Well, of course He does. Whom He loves, He chastises. I talk about that all the time. I'm not. I don't put punches on that, right? And so there's a lot of people that say that, and so that well, God would never want us to hurt anybody. So when He says it's like pouring coals on their head, here's what it really means. Back in the old days, they used to carry hot coals on their head. They had this hat that they would carry so they could take fire with them, and it just means like giving him more coals and helping the guy out so he can have a fire where he goes. Yay! That's not what it means. That is not what it means. Now that may have happened somewhere in the old days, but that's not what they're talking about. Pouring hot coals on someone's head is just exactly what it sounds like. It's very painful. And he says when you're kind to someone, it hurts them when they're hurting you, when they don't care about you. They could have the devil in their heart. I don't know. There's mean people in this world. You know that. Look at all the horrible stuff that happens. And you say, how can somebody do that? How can somebody stab somebody and kill somebody and their wife in front of their little girls, which just happened in Kentucky a few weeks ago? How can anybody do these horrible things, right? So when someone's doing horrible things to you, he says, be kind to them, because that's the strongest thing you can do, right? And sometimes people will pull out of it when if you're kind to them when they're getting ready to hurt you really bad. So I just pray the Lord will show me how to show kindness to those people that hurt me and spitefully use me. And I also pray for His provision, whatever it is. So that's all I got. No more sulking. Thank you, Lord. Thank you for showing me no matter what happens, because that's what I was trying to get. Let me just close with this. I'm always telling people that we need to trust God no matter what happens, even if He takes everything away. Like Tozer said, we still can't lose. So then, if He takes this away and we lose $36,000 and we don't know how we're going to build this, I still have to have the peace that passes understanding. So if I'm going to tell people about it, God's going to put it up and say, now how do you feel? Are you going to live that out, or are you just going to be a normal person and just get angry and go beat the guy up, or just get angry and just lose it and just blame God? Or like I was this morning, I was so upset. I said, well, maybe God's not going to do anything because maybe it's all fake. And, so I had this horrible thoughts from the pit of hell. And then all of a sudden I remembered, no, God's real. Everything that's happened to get me here is real. Trust in Him. Trust in Him. And He will. How does that verse go? Trust in the Lord, and He will fulfill the desires of your heart. It's not the one that says He will give you the desires. It's another one that says He will make right those things which concern you. That's what it is. Those things that you're worried about, God's got it. God's got it. So I'm going to give it to him, and I'm just going to trust him, and I'm just going to have the joy of the Lord. The joy of the Lord is my strength. God bless you guys. That's all for now.